Ah, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Simon Says. So, I want to make a new segment on the channel, and it's gonna be specifically just talking like social issues, relationship issues, things that I think we just kind of need to have some conversations about. It's not. I'm not gonna be focusing as much on Bible studies like I do on Wednesdays, but more so just trying to figure out ways to do things, live life, I guess, the right way, the biblical way, right? So today I want to address all the nice guys in the world, all right? Now, I understand that trying to get a woman's attention can be difficult, okay? Trying to get a girlfriend, someone to look at you in a certain way, it can be difficult. I understand that because I think it's something that all men can relate to. At some point in your life, you wanted a girl's attention and she didn't give it to you. And then you had to maneuver how you felt about that rejection. And either you kind of turned it into more motivation to where you started learning how to attract women, how to get them to accept you, how to get them to start wanting to be with you, or you simply let that rejection define you let it define the way you interact with women. All of a sudden you come across as not so confident. You're lacking in some type of way. So I'm talking to more so the latter rather than former today, and I want you to understand that dealing with women is it's not as complicated as I think we've made it out to be, but it's also not as simple as we would like it to be. There's a nuance to being with women that I think every man has to be willing to engage in, and there's no one specific way to treat any woman. And that's the first thing I want you guys to understand. There's not one specific way to treat a woman. Oftentimes, what you have to do is you kind of have to meet a certain set of criteria. So one thing I would recommend, and although I disagree with the red pill on this, I do think that they are right when they make this claim, which is one is to work on your physical attraction. Start learning how to present yourself in a much more favorable way. If it's changing up your style, if it's getting a better haircut, if it's maybe learning how to speak more confidently, being more social, presenting yourself in a way that is more attractive to women, right? And even going to the gym, I would recommend every man go to the gym at least 3 times a week. You don't have to go and overdo it. You don't have to try to be the Chris Bumstead. I think Chris Bumstead. I think that's his name. You don't have to be like a bodybuilder or a competitor, but at least gain that kind of frame that says, hey, when you walk, when you show up for yourself, you got that masculine frame about you. You see what I'm saying? And I mean, you don't have to do that. You don't have to go lift weights, but maybe you play a sport. Maybe you're, active in some way, shape, or form. But do something that, number one, allows you to be active, and number two, actually shapes your body around that activity. Makes you more confident. And like I said, that's why I recommend the gym for every guy. Number two, I would ask is, and I said it earlier, but learn how to be more social. People talk about being introverted and being extroverted all the time. I think really what it is some people have a natural talent for talking to everyone else, and some people just don't know how to express themselves in a way that communicates accurately how they feel, what they think, this, that, and the third, right? So when I think of introverts, I think of people who simply don't know how to express themselves. And that's okay. I always say you have to start where things are simple. Say what you mean, right? And don't be afraid to stand behind it. Don't be afraid to maybe get things wrong, and you might even offend somebody. And I hate to say it this way, but that can be okay, because in that offense it might actually draw you closer to that person. But learn how to be more sociable, learn how to talk to people, how to be intriguing, because I think there's a natural curiosity to people, to humans, when we're interested in them and they're interested in us, all of a sudden you'll realize there's a kind of a flow to some conversations. Now, if you're in your head all the time and you're like, oh, do I say this? Do I say that? Do I say this? You're probably gonna stumble over your words a lot more than you should. All right. Also, depending on what interests you have, what things that you might find interesting, what things you might not find interesting, try to find a way to relate to the other person. So being social isn't just about having conversation with people, but it's also about relating to other people. Try to find a way to go from her experience and mirror it to your experience. Maybe talk about something like, hey, have you ever had an issue with an ex or whatever? Or if you've never been in a relationship, maybe talk about that, but in a way that relates to her issues. Try to find key points in the conversation that you can latch on to, but will bring you to something that you know more about, so that you can be more confident in the things that you say. Because that confidence is what allows her to see that, hey, this guy isn't just here. He's just not also nervous. He's just not, that she's able to see that you actually know something, that you're confident about something. You have a life outside of just talking to her, And the last thing that I would say for any guy out there who's quote unquote a nice guy, it's really a two-part to this. Number one is stop being nice so that you can be rewarded. Okay? Look, man, we've all been in that situation, or we've all at least been in a certain situation. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling over. It's late. We've all been in times where we did something that was deemed good, but we did it because we wanted to be rewarded for it later on. Maybe someone owes us a favor or something like that, right? The term nice guys today it just means any man who is being kind to a woman because at some point in that relationship, he's expecting her to look at him as a viable option. All right, look, man, stop being nice to women just because you want something out of it. It's not going to get you anywhere. One, you're going to get friend zoned. Two, you're going to get your hopes up about something that may not happen. And three, when she finds out about your intentions, I promise you she will be just as upset as you are for her not picking you. So stop being nice just because you want to get something out of it. Be a kind person, right? Don't be afraid of doing nice things for them. Don't be afraid of saying, hey, let me help you out with this. But do it with the intention of not getting anything in return. Or even if she just says thank you, accept it and keep moving on. All right. And which leads me to part number 2, which is essentially learn how to be selective with who you show love to. One thing, another good point that I think the red pill brings up is that not every woman deserves your love. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to be hateful and spiteful to every woman or anything like that. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is be careful with who you choose to invest in and who you simply choose to just be casual with. And by casual, I'm not talking about casual relationships. I'm talking about friendships, acquaintances, coworkers, whatever, right? And here's the reason why. When a lot of guys talk about being stuck in a friend zone, oftentimes what I see is they have invested emotionally in this woman, right? Or at least the woman has invested in them emotionally. Either way, she's getting something out of this man that she normally gets in a relationship, but there is no cost of a relationship. You see what I'm saying? It's like having a friends with benefit type relationship where you're only in it because of the benefits that you're getting. If there was no benefits, you would not be friends, right? There's no commitment on your part. The same is true on hers. That emotional safety net that you're providing, right? That ability for her to just call you up whenever and and have you do things for her without her having to be in a relationship with you, that kind of investment should only be reserved for women who are actively in a relationship with you. All right. Again, this does not mean that you cannot be nice. This does not mean that you cannot every once in a while be compassionate. If I have a friend, she calls me up every once in a while. She's like, hey, can you help me out with like $20 or $30? And I'm like, of course. That does not, that kind of help or investment isn't too big of an investment for me to be like, oh, you need to go out with me, or I need to get something out of it. Because in that moment, she needs something, right? And I can help her out, and so I help. Or I have another friend, if she says, hey, can you come help me do X, Y, and Z? I can do those things for those friends, because there's not really any big takeaway from me. However, now if one of them, all of a sudden every night started calling me up about, I need you to help me with this. Oh, this, that, and the third. Oh, I'm going through this, I'm going through that, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. After the third night, I'm gonna be like, hey, listen. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand that I am your friend, but understand that I cannot provide you with that emotional security that you would get in a relationship without the relationship. Because then at that point, I'm giving you something that should only come in a relationship. And maybe I want the relationship, but I'm not going to get it from you. And then that puts me in a situation where now I'm resentful towards you, because here I am doing what I think I should be doing to get you to come to me, and you're still on your side. And that just causes, resentment between both of us. And that doesn't need to happen. So be selective about who you choose to invest in. And, like I said earlier, it's okay to be kind. It's okay to do nice things. It's okay to be a gentleman. Those things you should do, and like I said, I know I said I'm not gonna talk as much Bible study, but Matthew chapter 5, the Beatitudes, it talks about how we as individuals can be kind towards other people, men and women, and these are things that we can do for each other without ever needing to be in a relationship. But there are certain things that we shouldn't do outside of a relationship. Because when you start doing it and it becomes the norm and you start asking for that relationship, she's going to look at you and be like, well, I thought that's just how you were friends. Or she's going to feel like, hey, you know what? All this time you were pretending to be someone when all you really wanted was the goods, and we know that wasn't your intention, but that's the kind of miscommunication that can kill your chances. So how do you rectify? How do you all of a sudden start getting girls' attention? Here's a short answer, man. There is no one proven way. Okay? It is trial and error. As I'm starting to dive into dating and trying to talk to more women and get to know a lot of women, I realize, what works for some guys may not work for me. And what works for me may not work for some other guys. The way I talk to certain women and their response to me, they may have the same response to a different guy and he's doing something totally different. There is no one proven method of how to get a woman to at least pay you some attention. So the one piece of advice I would tell you is be you, but be a, how can I say this? I'm thinking of the word. The word's escaping me right now, okay? Be yourself, but be yourself in a way that is interesting. If you understand what I'm saying, right? I think part of the problem that we have as men when we're trying to get women is, yes, we are ourselves, but the problem is we're so much into ourselves that we don't actually leave room for the other person to be themselves. We don't actually allow the other person to dig deeper. It's like bringing all your cards to the table, right? And then all of a sudden the mystery's gone. All of a sudden you're telling her your whole life story about what you've gone through, what obstacles you overcame, and it's like this is the first meeting between both of you, right? So be yourself, but be yourself in a way that, number one, leaves more to be desired, right? The best way to say, be authentic, but you don't have to show all your cards on the table. You don't have to try to be this macho person that you're not. Don't try to be somebody else, right? Just be yourself. That's the best result that you can probably get. But at the same time, it is okay to listen to some advice from some female friends. A lot of guys will tell you not to listen to advice not to listen to dating advice from women, and I think that is kind of counterproductive, because if you're trying to be with a woman, it's best for you to be with a woman who, it's best for you to figure out how women operate so you can figure out how you should operate, right? So try to make friends with women who, and ask them their opinion. Hey, what can I do to be more attractive? What can I do to help me in this particular area? And some of them might tell you, hey, I don't know. Some of them might give you some good pointers here and there, but ask questions. Try to learn how to present yourself in a better way. Try to learn how to relate yourself to other women, you know, and try to have some experiences that you can talk about. Don't just make your whole entire life about whatever interest you have, but try something new. You know, go travel and see a new area. Go travel and meet new people. Practice talking to strangers. Those kind of habits will help you far more than just watching advice videos alone, right? And I think once you understand and once you learn how to, one, be yourself, two, socialize, and three, present yourself in a way that is intriguing and yet leaves a little bit to be desired, then you will start to be able to see, okay, I'm attracting women nowadays, right? Listen, at the end, listen, every man, I can't say every man, at some point in your life, you're gonna attract a woman. And it is on you to be proactive. In the meantime, work on yourself, get yourself better. Don't attack dating or trying to get a woman's relationship, or trying to get a relationship with a woman. Don't attack it as if it's a game or a hunt, because she's not prey. I'm sorry, every guy who says that, I'm sorry, she is not prey. You are not some hunter that's ultimately skilled and you're in the middle of the woods and you're crawling on all fours trying to get. She is not prey and you are not the hunter. Instead, it's a dialogue. It's a push and pull. It's a back and forth. You present yourself, she presents herself. And practice just talking and practice being comfortable out in the open. And once you know how to do that, once you can, you know, become a better version of yourself, again, like I said, you know, go to the gym or do something that helps you be active, but do something that gives you that masculine frame about you. You know, and that's my personal opinion. Do something that gives you the masculine frame, because that woman will want to know that you are a man first. And even if she is not immediately attracted to you, even if she is not like maybe when she looks at you, you don't immediately just turn her on like that. The more she talks to you, the more she gets to know you, the more she becomes, she just, you know, is around your presence. You might be surprised what may happen. I'm not saying things will go your way, but I'm also not saying things won't go your way. But it is up to you as a nice guy, as a man who's struggling, to be proactive. So to end this video off, I think I've given y'all some pretty good points. All right, number one, do something that gives you a masculine frame. Go talk to people. Present yourself favorably. All right, and listen, man, it's a push and pull. Don't make it anything other than what it is, man. You're trying to talk to her. Talk to her. That's it. And I wish that I could tell you what to say. I wish that I can just write a script for you that'll work. It's not. There's not one. There's not one. I'm sorry, because I promise you, I looked it up myself. I said how to talk to girls. What do you say? At the end of the day, it is all just you. It is all just you, and it's a great risk, but it's great reward. And like I said earlier, be selective about who you invest in. Don't just be out there doing the most for a girl that's not showing you that much attention, or who's not willing to be in that relationship with you. Be a gentleman, be kind. That's cool. Do nice things, but don't overdo it. Because if you overdo it and you trap yourself in the friend zone, that's your problem, buddy. Anyway, guys, that's my little spiel. I'll see you guys in another video on Wednesday. Like I said, Wednesdays, more of a Bible study. Fridays, we're just going to talk about life. All right, y'all. Deuces.